what the fuck.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to a special presentation of Anime Club After Dark. I'm your host, Sho, and joining me tonight, we have Alex Senpai.
Vinland Saga is finally legal. Oh wait, this is episode 19, not 18. God damn it, I fucked it up.
I mean, in some places that's legal.
That's true.
Or maybe not. No, I'm thinking of the drinking age. Never mind. But I'm sure some place. And
I forgot which number we were doing. I didn't fuck this intro up. God damn it. I suck.
Actually, I don't think any countries have 19 as age of consent.
Anyway.
That's a curious conundrum that I will look into later for purely research purposes. Anyway, we are talking about the 19th episode of Vinland Saga. In this episode, Thorfinn continues his duel with Thorkel, which I thought it was over, first of all, but apparently we're continuing. And then after that, Canute recruits Thorkel as a follower, which was an interesting turn of events, which we will get into when we talk about that. So at the beginning of the episode, we start off with Thorfinn waking up from being thrown into a tree, which is very anime, first of all. But he wakes up and his arm is like hanging from his forearm is dangling from his elbow, and it's still clutching his dagger.
This dude clearly has a high pain tolerance.
No. Okay. If you have no longer have operation of your elbow down, then you cannot keep holding onto your dagger. So I was just like, okay, Vinland Saga, sure. That's the first thing I thought when I saw that. I'm like, you trying to trick me by giving me a reveal that, oh, he has a broken elbow, but no. It doesn't make sense that the first image you saw was him holding a dagger and now his arm is broken. It does not make sense. But more importantly, well, not as important, but later, like a few minutes after that, we learn that Thorkel is Thorfinn's great uncle.
Dun,
which,
dun, dun.
Who could have known with the same fucking prefix to your name? I mean, we didn't know. We just were racist as fuck, and we're like, every Norse person starts with Thor, right?
Do you know something else I've noticed? Thorfinn, Thorkel, and ACAD all have names that end in double consonants.
Interesting.
I don't know why I noticed that, but it took me this long to realize that they all end in double consonants.
That is true. That is such an interesting nugget of wisdom.
I don't know if it means anything. I'm just saying. I pointed it out.
Plopped onto us. But that is, I can see it. I can see the resemblance because they're both crazy, Thorfinn and Thorkel.
Yeah, just in different ways.
Yes, they both have their own very large problems with their personality. Also, the running problem that I've been having this podcast about not being able to recognize these people because they all look the same. Literally, you can't blame me because they're related. Okay? You can't blame me. See, I already knew that they were related because they all look the same. So then...
Not touching that one.
Then it's not racist because they are related.
Okay.
Then we get a flashback about Thor's escaping from the Joms Vikings.
I like how I also like this whole thing. Like Thorkel becomes the great storyteller, and he even sits in a chair while he's telling the story. Like, gather around, kiddies. Let me tell you a story.
I mean, he is a very good daddy, so it's only befitting. But we get that whole confrontation between Thors and Thorkel, where Thors is like, I understand what a real warrior is. Glance at the baby, glance back at Thorkel. So I have to go. Which was, I'm pretty sure, implied in previous flashbacks that, I have a family now. That's what I care about. That's the real meaning of life. I can't fight anymore because I have to care about my people that I brought into this world. Which is like, I mean, it's self-justifying because us with a Western notion understand that. But I can't relate to this unless you get into it specifically and give me more of a thorough, like, epiphany moment for Thor's. Because it was, I've been complaining about this before, but Thor's whole 180 in personality was like, it's like, on paper, it makes sense because it's like, oh, I have a family now, I have to go become a family man. But like, in practice, in what I'm seeing on the screen, I'm not really seeing him change. I'm not seeing the growth happen. It's just like a flip of a switch. So I'm not really that happy about that.
So are you saying it seems a little too contrived?
It's not. It's like, I understand it. I just wish you would like explain it a little or give it more screen time for me to really appreciate this character.
Or maybe just say more than I now understand what a real warrior is.
Yes. Maybe learn more words than 5. So that was my opinion when I at that exact minute when I was watching that episode, that was my opinion. But later on in the episode, which I'm just gonna skip ahead because it's kind of related, when Canute is talking to Thorkel, and then Thorkel tells Canute that Canute has the same look in his eyes as Thor's. I see, like, there's a connection there where both Canute and Thor's have like an epiphany, and they both like change their ways. They both have a deeper understanding of the world. They both change their priorities to be more like loving, more caring. Well, caring in like a sense, like to cherish life for what it's meant to be cherished for, something like that. And also with Canute, I have the same problem where his epiphany that he had like 1 or 2 episodes ago, it might have been last episode, not entirely sure, was like, so it was too in his head. It didn't feel like emotional. It was too like he was having the conversation with the priest and he was like philosophizing over what love means, and then he changes. I'm like, that was too contrived, I will say, because it didn't feel real, didn't feel organic.
It didn't feel earned, is what I would say. It almost almost felt like it was given to him, like a Deus Ex Machina almost. Definitely.
So, see, I have the same problem with both of them, but the fact that the same thing happened to both of them, and we're seeing a recurring trend that's like kind of in line with the theme of the show, apparently, I'm okay. I'm okay with having like 2 wrongs do make a right.
Oh,
okay?
Wow. Okay.
Because, you don't spend a lot of time developing Thor's. You don't spend a lot of time developing Canute. But you're talking about the same thing, like cherishing life. Let's say that's what it's saying. So, but you are spending a lot of time as an author talking about cherishing life. So overall, there's an overall development of the theme, but the particular characters are not individually developed. So I'll give it a pass. I'm like, okay, I get it. I was actually very satisfied when the characters connected Canute and Thor's. I'm like, oh, you're a competent author. You're like threading themes through the story, and all these things are coming together. It's like, oh, these characters are connected. That's great.
It's almost like developing the theme solely through the characters' actions and not necessarily going into why they do the things they do. You just have to kind of accept it.
Yeah, I would say like maybe they didn't. My justification is like maybe they didn't have enough time to develop all the characters, but I mean like they could have developed them if they wanted to. Well, you can't develop every single character. I don't know. There's probably I'll give it a pass, but you could have done better.
Yeah,
but I still
I
enjoyed
completely
it.
agree. I mean, it could have been handled a little better, but the fact that we're finally getting it is good. That we're finally getting this
Yes.
look back into why these people have become this way, and you're using that flashback to further develop the theme that you're trying to put forward is good.
Yes.
It just shouldn't
I
have taken
think,
this long. I completely agree.
Sure. I mean, my problem isn't that it didn't take long. Well, that's a whole other problem. That it took a long time to develop Knut's and Thor's, and that's a whole other problem. Well, not a problem. It's like a minor problem. I don't have a big problem with it, but yeah, it could have been done better. I definitely think so as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so back
on track.
previously after what were we talking about? Yes, after the flashback with Thor's, we go back to the conversation that Thorkel is having with Thorfinn. Oh my god, I hate these names. And Thorkel is reminiscing and saying that it really didn't hit him that he heard that Thor's died a second time because Thor's soul had already been gone for a long time and is still gone. I thought that was really poetic. And I understand what they're trying to say. They're like saying he's living a different lifestyle that Thorkel can't really understand properly. So that's like why his soul is far away.
He also certainly can't relate to it because he doesn't have a family.
True. Well, we don't know that. He could.
Well, yeah, I suppose he could, but we haven't been given any evidence that he does.
No, he doesn't. I mean, well, look, Knut didn't have a family, but he understands, I think. Well, I think the show is trying to say that he understands the same thing that Thor's understands.
Yeah, perhaps.
So, I mean, he could, like, I think you don't need to, like, have a child to cherish life, but, like, that's what the show is saying. So, Thorkel could understand, but he doesn't right now. But I like the way they worded that with the whole soul thing. And on that topic of cherishing life, I remember previously in these episode reviews, I was complaining that Vinland Saga was like imposing Western principles or values on like a medieval setting. And I guess this whole theme of like people coming to an epiphany that life is worth cherishing is kind of along the same line. But the way they formatted it here, I'm kind of on board with it. I think it's written well how they're connecting all these dots. So I'm okay with it at this point in time. So after all that, boring literary stuff, we finally get to the fight between Thorkel and Thorfinn, which I fully didn't expect because, yeah, Thorfinn got hit in a tree and unconscious.
Round 2, fight!
We were definitely complaining that the fight was not long enough.
My complaint necessarily wasn't that it was not long enough because I'm okay with a short fight. Like, I hate fight scenes that last 3, 4, 5, 6 episodes. At that point, I'm like, just end it already. But my issue was when the fight started, it almost was like it wasn't anywhere near as epic as we were led to believe. Like, there was so much build up to it, and you thought, oh shit, it's about to go down. We're about to throw fucking hands, and then it's like swing, slash. All right, we're done.
Yeah, very anticlimactic. Well, we definitely got a climax here. And I'm happy about that. I really enjoyed the fight started with Thorkel like slashing Thorfinn, and they did some really nice sound design with the axe swings. I really like that. And they also did like a OST track that was pretty cool. I like that too.
I like one thing I liked. You mentioned the OST during this fight, or at least the second round of this fight. I guess that's what we're gonna call it. I noticed that with the OST, there was like this very light electronic beat in the background. I thought that was an interesting thing to do, considering the type of music that we've heard so far.
Interesting. I don't think I noticed that, or maybe I'm just so used to electronic beats. They're
There you
just
go.
normal to me.
Yeah, the
Yes.
the music that was playing during the second round and the sound design in particular were really good, and the animation was pretty good too for this fight.
Yeah. So we get the climax of the fight was basically Thorfinn leading Thorkel to the right angle, and then Askeladd blinding Thorkel with using his sword as a
Like a mirror.
light refractor. Yeah. Which was very Askeladd, very underhanded. But it's interesting, I guess.
I knew that he was gonna do that though, because I saw him polishing his sword with snow, and I'm thinking, you bitch, you're making it as clean as possible so you can blind this guy.
Okay, so there were like multiple shots of the sun in between the fight, so I'm like, okay, you're trying to blind him, and then Askeladd picks up a bunch of snow. I'm like, are you just gonna throw a snowball at him? I'm like, what is happening? And then Askeladd just starts cleaning his sword, and I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't expect the reflection, but I'm just like, oh, you're just cleaning your sword. That's great. But I definitely expected the blind because they kept cutting to the sun. So then they blind him. Thorfinn kicks him in the head, which is kind of like,
Again, somewhat anime.
it's like kind of a cheap blind spot, or not blind spot, weak spot, weakness, whatever. The weak area is kicking him in the head, which is kind of,
I mean,
Okay.
it is a way to end the fight, I suppose. I mean, and the whole
LOL.
thing was Askeladd told Thorfinn to do this because he had actually seen Thorkel get taken out in a previous fight in almost the same way.
I guess. I don't know. You could have done a bit better. It was okay. I didn't think it was that great. After he got knocked out though, Thorfinn just goes ham and starts gouging his eye out. Oh my god, that was so hilarious. I died. Like, as soon as he goes unconscious, Thorfinn like starts screaming like a demon and like goes on all fours, like fucking clamps onto him and is trying to completely take
is
him out.
Definitely going ham, as you say, for sure. But you know what?
Oh my
not
God.
out of character for Thorfinn, I would say.
Oh my god, literally an uncaged beast. Not even thinking at all about the situation he's in. He's just like, I'm gonna ruin you. I'm like, okay, girl. You
This is
do
also
whatever you
this is
wanna
also
do.
the second time that Thorfinn has handicapped Thorkel in a fight.
Yeah. How many wounds is Thorkel going to suffer?
He's cut off some of his fingers, or at least parts of some of his fingers, and now he's gouged out at least one of his eyes.
Oh my. Thorkel is the glutton for pain, especially that inflicted by Thorfinn. So, when Thorkel finally awakens from his knockout,
With a gouged out eye.
he also has Dragon Ball Z hair.
Yes, when he gets up off the ground, it's like, oh my god, we haven't even seen his final form. He's about to go Super Saiyan on us now.
I'm like, when did he get electrocuted? I'm sorry. Did Thor come down and fucking hammer him with lightning? Apparently. I also found that slightly funny.
The way it was done was
like
very
that.
entertaining to me, for sure.
I also wanted to, another part of the episode that I found hilarious was that it was supposed to be, I don't know, I think it was supposed to be serious, was they did this like side scene where the brothers in Askeladd's crew reunite, and then the older brother doesn't recognize the younger brother because he's so like shell-shocked. Yeah, from like his crew being massacred. I just found that so funny because it was like so hypocritical about their brotherly love. Like ascending, or not ascending, it's brotherly love, whatever, superseding all other forms of love, and then it's just like, who are you? That's so inappropriate, but I just laughed so hard.
I mean, I'm not sure if it's meant to be like played completely straight, but yeah, I get what you're saying. It is kind of funny, his reaction, like, huh? Who are you? I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is also kind of sad if you think about it, because
it's definitely supposed to be sad.
They have essentially lost everything they were trying to do. Like, it's pointed out that Askeladd's entire crew is completely massacred. I mean, the only people left are Askeladd, Thorfinn, and the two brothers. That's it.
Yeah, but like, I mean, how am I supposed to have sympathy for these people as a viewer? They're like not even good people.
I mean, I'm not sure if you're supposed to have sympathy for the characters themselves, but it's still kind of sad that it's come to this for them. Like, what do they have left? Nothing.
Girl, do I care? No. What they have left is giving me funny jokes that I will laugh at their pain. So the fight basically ends, and Canute strolls in on horseback.
On his high horse, literally.
Lol. And he's literally fucking Z-snapping all of these bitches back to where they came from. Like, his composure with his, like, poker face and his calm speech is really, really surprising. Really, it's really interesting. He's definitely becoming a character who can take command of a situation, and I'm definitely enjoying watching him take command of these situations.
Yeah.
Because he's reining in the wild beasts that are running around everywhere, and someone needs to discipline them. And Canute looks like he's good with discipline. I don't know what that means, but sure. I love another moment that I don't know if it was supposed to be serious, but Thorkel like screams that he's so mad that Canute is telling him that he lost the fight, and then as Thorkel is like screaming into the air, Canute just gives him like a side eye, like, bitch please. And I just laughed. I laughed so hard. I'm like, damn, Canute.
I've noticed that since Canute has had this sort of, I hate calling it a 180, but that's kind of what it's been with his personality. Like, you can just, in anytime he stares at someone, you can just insert the line, bitch please.
It's honestly, that is his entire persona, and I am living for it. It's pretty cool.
What do you mean you're living for it? That is you to a T.
I wish I could get on that level. I can only approach it.
How modest you are.
Oh, thank you. Flattery will get you everywhere. But yeah, it was pretty cool how Thorkel faked the punch at Canute, and Canute's like, bitch please, as his hair.
See,
like,
that's what I mean.
back.
Like, that look is like, bitch please.
His hair did a bitch please as it like flew back, and he was standing completely still. Loved it.
I like how his hair essentially did a hair flip without him touching it.
Lol. He's so sassy. That's hilarious. So after that altercation between Thorkel and Canute, Thorkel says this very poignant line about regretting not accompanying Thors when Thors fled the Jomsvikings. I don't know how to pronounce that, but okay. Which I thought was pretty, like, that made me sad, because I kind of actually care about Thorkel as a character, strangely enough. So I'm like, oh, Thorkel, don't be sad. Don't have regrets. But also, yeah, you should definitely consider the consequences of your actions and maybe reconsider what you've been doing.
And getting fucking handicapped by everyone you fight, apparently. I also think,
yeah.
I thought it was kind of poignant, too, because I think it's in this episode that Thorkill mentions that he's in his 50s.
Really?
And yeah, and I mean, at that point in your life, like, human lifespans,
did.
human lifespans
no.
being what they were back then. I mean, most of his life is over.
Okay, he said that he is the king's younger brother. Girl, the king looks fucking 500 years older than him. Thorkill looks like below 25, and King Swine looks above
85.
70. Yeah, like what? Someone got blessed with the right genes.
No, he's not King Swain's younger brother.
Who's younger brother?
You saying Thorkill is King Swain's younger. That's not true. That Thorkill is the brother of the head of the Vikings.
Oh,
the head of the Jomsvikings, Vikings, not the king.
Oh, we haven't seen that person, have we?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, well then, never mind. That makes sense then.
Yeah, but that when he says that about regretting not following Thor's, I mean, he's in his 50s, so he doesn't have a whole lot of his life ahead of him, especially lifespans back then being what they were.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't really have a lot of time to go back and change anything, which kind of makes that regret seem very, like, it's pitiable almost.
Oh my. Okay. Having his midlife crisis.
At 50? Yeah, a little late, isn't it?
Isn't that when you're supposed to have that?
I don't know. At that, maybe now, but not back then.
Yes. Okay. And also Thor's is dead, so that may compound the regret.
Yes.
But in the end, Canute convinces Thorkel to follow him, which was an interesting turn of events.
Which causes Askeladd to fucking lose it.
Oh my god.
I love that scene where he just starts laughing. I'm like, oh my god, you're like every Bond villain ever.
Yes, I really enjoyed his evil cackle. Surprisingly, Askeladd has not died yet, and also something good actually happened to him in that Canute changed for the better in the way that Askeladd had planned him to. So, despite all of the foreshadowing that Askeladd was going to meet an early demise, we were cucked out of that, and now it seems like things are turning out all fine and dandy for him.
I mean, to be fair, he still has a chance to die. I mean, there's, 5 episodes left in this season, so...
I guess, but, like, the climax where he was clearly supposed to die
it didn't happen.
has already elapsed, and there's no real impending doom on his back anymore.
I'd also like to point out that this episode ends with everyone essentially walking, like, fucking arm in arm. You know, like, let's just forget everything that's happened. This is what they even use the phrase "water under the bridge," and I'm thinking, is no one gonna point out that Askeladd got shot by about 6 arrows a couple of episodes ago?
It's just Viking things. Don't even think about it.
Like, this man should be, and not only that, he pulled them out.
You are still hung up over that.
I'm just
See, the cold weather causes blood to coagulate quite quickly. So you can do that if you're in the
Is that
snow.
true?
Do not take my advice.
I'm about to say, I don't think that's true.
Honey, I was about to say try it at home, but please don't. If you're interested, you may do your own experimentation.
Don't do it.
Not recommended by me. Up to your own whatever, I'm not going to continue this. But the one last thing that happened in this episode was that Askeladd admitted to Canute that he killed Ragnar. Like, what? That came as a complete surprise. I did not expect that to happen.
Yeah, it doesn't seem tactically sound, does it?
I can see what the author was trying to say. It's like, Canute has already had his epiphany that everybody should... He's like basically a good person now. So a good person wouldn't take revenge over like a personal problem. So yes, I think that's what the logic was supposed to be there. But at the same time, tactically speaking, Askeladd has technically betrayed Canute once. So, as a military officer, you should kill Askeladd because you can no longer trust him.
Yeah.
Clearly. So, I don't know. So I feel like it's a bit not believable that Canute doesn't at least order his arrest or something. So, I don't know. He just like makes a face like, ooh, I tasted something sour. And it's like, okay, fine. We'll leave
well,
it
and he
at
also turns his back on him and then says, "Follow me if you want." And I'm like, okay.
that. Okay. Yeah. So, I believe that is everything. Unless
And it
you
was,
have anything else.
I'm glad we got to see more of the actual fight between Thorfinn and Thorkil. I did not expect it to go the way that it did. But this opens up many avenues for some interesting storytelling going forward, I think.
In what way?
It's going to be very interesting watching these people who have been fighting against each other for many, many episodes now, trying to work together to, for a common goal, and that is to kill King Sweyn so that Canute can take the throne.
Yes, there's definitely been a switching of sides, with which Thorkel apparently likes to do often, but there's seems to be a new goal in mind, and I would like to see how the story pursues this new, I guess, new avenue.
Yeah, new storyline.
New chapter in the plot. Should be interesting.
Yeah.
So, thank you all out there for dropping in to listen to us. We hope you enjoyed it because we sure enjoyed bringing it to you. If you want to check out previous episodes of the podcast, you can find us on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify. If you want to keep up with what we're doing, you can join us on Discord, Facebook, Twitter, and our website. Shoot us an email if you have any questions or if you have any ideas for topics you'd like us to talk about in the future. Links to all these things are down below in the description. I've been your host, Sho, and I will see you next time. Say goodnight, Alex.
He got shot with arrows, man. Why the fuck did he pull him out?
You're just not gonna shut up about this, are you?
Nope.